I don't know what to say. Last week I was literally speechless. I couldn't talk. This week I told the team I didn't really have anything to say to them. I mean, we don't take it for granted. It's hard to win and to come out and really play the way we did in the first half. I'm just really proud of our guys. I mean, they were ready to play. Our coaches did a great job having them ready. The weather and all that pregame didn't bother them, and they started fast. And I thought the opening drive, obviously scoring on the second play, was big. Then the defense gets the 4th and short stop. And our staff did a great job of handling that. I had to call timeout because our headsets went out right when the drive started. So Scott was on his way running down. Ricky, I think, called the first 4 or 5 plays of the drive. But then they kind of got together, stopped them. Preston hit RJ on the big 4th down, and it just felt like things snowballed from there. Obviously, we scored again on defense, and turnovers are kind of starting to come in bunches for us. And we're playing really good in all 3 phases, 2 weeks in a row, and a lot of confidence. But we don't take it for granted. I mean, Kevin Wilson's a good ball coach. He's going to do a really good job there at Tulsa. And so we're grateful to get the win and get to 4-0 in the league.
When you've been a part of games like this that you win at such a large margin, what are some of the keys that you see throughout the week or in preparation that your team has now done 2 weeks in a row?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's to their credit. I mean, they're consistent, and it's hard to get 18 to 24-year-old guys to do that. And it's going to be hard. We got to go do it again now this week, but just the way they prepare, they've been consistent Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I think I said it. I don't remember where I said it earlier this week. It almost feels boring sometimes because they're just going about their business in such a professional, this is what we do kind of way. And so it doesn't happen that often. So really proud of those guys. They're fun to coach. How you handle success is important. A lot of times it's harder to handle success than it is failure. They handled it well, I think, going into Temple, specifically on defense. I know the offense was hungry. I thought everybody handled it well today, and we're going to have to go ahead and do it all over again next week. But yeah, it gives you confidence as a coach when you start to see them do it week in, week out, to feel like they're going to be ready to play. It's going to be hard to win, but they're going to be ready each week.
You've won your last 2 games by 114 points, and you said you didn't have a whole lot to say to your team after this, but when the margins get that lopsided, is it difficult for you and your staff to critically evaluate your film?
Yes and no. As a coach, it's never hard to be critical, right? So we'll be able to do that. But like I said, winning in general is hard, but winning like that doesn't happen often. And again, we play them 10 times. I bet it doesn't happen that way, another time. So it was just our day. But we're thankful to win the way we did the last 2 weeks, because most of the weeks it's going to come down the 4th quarter. And I have a feeling these last 4 weeks will be like that. And so now really the challenge is we got to keep our guys hungry, and I feel good about the maturity of that, but we got to come out ready to play because, Rice is playing really good football, and I know they're about to play now, but they're playing really good football, and we're going to go on the road again, and we just got to take it 1 week at a time. And so far, those guys have been able to do that.
What did you see from Preston today? It looked like he just took another step forward for you guys.
I think, after the ECU game, I think it was a combination of offensively as a staff, our staff's done a good job of kind of zeroing in on what our identity is on offense with the personnel we have and what everybody does well. And I think we're doing a good job of getting the ball out of his hands and not everything be all or nothing. I think, again, with the way the game went today, we didn't statistically have an incredible day running the football, I guess. If we ran for over 200 yards if you take the sacks out. But, I thought we were balanced both weeks. I thought we did what we needed to do there. But he's just he also in that week leading up to Temple, I think just kind of realized, okay, I played 7 games. Like I said, I think each week, we said it before the season ever started, he's a first-time starter. You're going to see him grow and get better as the season goes on before your eyes. And we had a tough starting slate, and I think he's hung in there. I think he's trusting the teammates. I think he's improving each week, getting the ball in his hands quicker. The quick game's been a lot better, the relief game, getting on the perimeter. And so now you couple that with he just is confident in what we're doing. He knows where to go with the football. He's doing a good job of being aggressive and taking care of it. And so hopefully his confidence will just grow and grow each week. But I thought he had the same look in his eye as he had last week against Temple. And he was just in total control and totally confident.
Kamar had 2 pretty explosive plays.
Yeah.
For a guy he's had a long season so far. What do you think that does for his confidence to be able to go and set up those big plays?
It has to help. It has to help. And the long touchdown run was great. He had the long run on the screen late. I thought he ran really hard from what I could see. I thought every back we put in the game, ran hard. Kamar actually led the team with 9 carries. You know, LJ got 8. I think last weekend, this week, he's been running really well. I think Jalen ran the ball well, specifically that drive. He had 2 or 3 carries in a row and scored. You know, and seems like we hand the ball to Tyler Levine. Something good always happens. But that was good for Kamar's confidence. You know, I think the hamstring's good. And having all 3 of those guys, plus Levine, plus Felton, plus Junior, healthy down the stretch is really big.
You said you didn't have a whole lot to say after the game. What did you talk about at halftime when you already had 50+ on the board?
Yeah, it was a little different, I guess. Last year we came, I didn't know this, Brad and them told me we had the same score at halftime of the Houston game. That one felt different because they were scoring at a pretty good clip. So I think the biggest thing is you wanted to see the maturity we showed to start the game, you wanted to see that in the second half. And, you know, we figured if the game went the way we hoped in the third quarter, we'd play a lot of people, but you want them to take the field and maintain the same standard that happened in the first half in terms of how hard they play, how physical they play, the right way, you know, not do anything that gets late hits and gets us thrown out of the game or anything like that. And like I said, I thought they did. The defense came out, got a 3 and out, offense went right down and scored. And I think that just kind of set the tone for we're not going to just kind of get through the second half and get sloppy. And, you know, that's tough on both sides for us and for them in that moment, and I thought they handled it really well.
What's been the key to the special teams improvement, just overall? You know, it seems like they're more and more consistent as well.
Yeah, they are. I think, you know, in our bye week, Coach Cooper changed up our punt scheme. We've gone down to more 3 shield guys back there instead of 2, and I think, you know, our punter's really good, and our gunners have been good, but if we give him time to get a good boom on it, he can get some hang time, and we're doing a nice job covering out of it. And we're doing a nice job protecting. So I think that's really helped our punt team. Obviously, I think putting Junior back in the return in both spots, I think, is stabilizing punt and kickoff return. We've shifted some personnel around on our kickoff team, and we've got 2 platoons, really, and one of them's almost all offensive guys. And that culture, like, I mean, Roderick Daniels and Jordan Hudson and Teddy Knox and Velton Gardner and Jalen Knight and Tyler Levine, and I'm probably Keyshawn Smith, I'm probably missing some guys, are all on a kickoff coverage unit now. And they've taken great pride in that. So I just think it's a couple of things. We changed our punt scheme. We've changed the personnel a bit. And our guys have just bought into the fact that, you know, if we want to win down the stretch, we're going to have to be good in all 3 phases. And I think it showed up the last few weeks.
The touchdown pass to RJ looked like it was then the same play that was a 50-something yard pass to Adam.
It was.
A little bit later. What's it like having a couple tight ends you can get out and do that, and then obviously RJ outrunning some guys?
Yeah, I mean, guys, RJ can fly now. And I don't know, like, when we had Kylan Granson, Kylan could run. I'm talking 4.4. I don't know what he'll run someday at Pro Day, but RJ can go, and you saw that. And I think when you have guys like RJ, and even Man we call him, Adam Moore, who's a freshman, that are that versatile as pass catchers, but they have tight end bodies. I mean, they have to treat them like a receiver, but that's a weapon. And, you know, Adam being a freshman, we've slowly been bringing him along. He's on teams, and I think you see the potential he has in the future. There'll be things to correct for him for sure, but that was a big catch for him. He caught a lot of flack from the guys for running out of bounds, though.
Preston, before he came out, 328 of his yards were on what they had deemed big plays. He had 9 of them.
Okay.
What were you guys seeing on film or in the game that let you think you could push downfield that much?
Yeah, most of them were leveled reads. So, for example, it wasn't like we just took a shot. Like the second play of the game was a play action where Curley's on a home run post. He's actually the first read. We did a switch release. Romelo's on the intermediate route, the over route. We have a check down, and they doubled. They doubled Curley, and that somehow doubled. I don't know if it was Junior or Jake in the game on the switch, and they just turned Melo loose. We did a nice throw. So most of them were that. Even the long one to RJ, he was the second or third read. We were post coming down, and so I think, you know, when you layer it like that, the defense kind of sometimes dictates it. But we had seen, I mean, they've been susceptible on the back end in the passing game, and so they did come out and play different. They played an odd front, kind of a little bit with zero in the middle. He's normally a boundary in, a little bit of robber, you know, stuff they'd shown just a little, not much. And I thought, you know, our guys adjusted well to it, and maybe because they don't do it a lot, they didn't execute it as well as they'd like to. But I wouldn't have known that stat if you hadn't told me. It makes sense because I don't think we saw a lot of third downs, which is actually a good thing on offense. But I thought Preston he did a nice job of distributing the ball where it was supposed to go, and sometimes it just happens where a lot of them hit down the field like it did today.
bowl eligible for another year. What does it mean just overall to get to that plateau?
Yeah, well, it's a step in the process. You know, you have big goals, but that's one of them. That's kind of a benchmark you got to check, and we did it a little sooner than we did last year, so that's thankful for that. You know, so the guys were excited about that. I think they'd be the first to tell you we've got 4 games left in the regular season, and it's going to be a lot harder probably than our last 3 or 4 were. And so, but I think they should be satisfied and proud of themselves for doing that, right? Because that's a goal every team has when they start the season. But we can't relax.
When you get a game like this, how do you evaluate when to start bringing some guys like Preston out?
Yeah, it's hard because, you know, Tulsa has moved the ball against a lot of people they played. And like I said, Coach Wilson is a really good offensive coach. I got a lot of respect for Braxton, their quarterback. He's a local area kid. He got after us a little bit last year in the game. And so, you know, it takes one turnover here, one turnover there, them hit a big one, and now, while you still maybe have a cushion, it starts to give them some momentum. So you never know, but I think when we scored the last one that made it 52-3, I think we flipped it to Mucci, I can't remember. You just felt like the way our defense is playing, and we got full faith in Kevin to go run the offense, and it's good for him to get to go play a little bit in times where it's not just hand it off, like actually convert third downs and run around and do what he needs to do. So it's different every game. You kind of feel the game out, but I just felt like, again, we were playing well and our defense was in control. So, you know, he didn't need to play anymore. We needed to get Kevin in there.
Again, this defense just continues to play at an insanely high level. Just what have you seen from them, especially the last 2 weeks, but just overall?
Yeah, they got a lot of confidence, and I mean this respectfully to our opponent, but when they kicked the field goal to make it 14-3, they came off the field and our defense was ticked that they scored. And I was just kind of like taken back by that for a minute. Like, that's the standard they're holding themselves to, which is unrealistic, you know, but pretty cool. And, you know, the starters won another 2.5, 3 quarters and didn't give up a touchdown. So they're taking that, running with that confidence, but they're holding themselves to that standard. You know, we're not having to say anything. And so we got to keep bearing down on it, though, and keep building on that confidence and that momentum.
To piggyback off the question about bowl eligibility and then the team having the standards that they now have, there was a time when bowl eligibility was what you were fighting for at the very end of the year, or maybe not even at all. How excited are your players? How significant do they see bowl eligibility, or is that not much of a milestone for these guys anymore?
No, it's significant, and we respect how hard it is to get to that number. You know, and to get to that number was still just halfway through conference, especially with the non-conference slate we have, is an accomplishment. They need to be proud of it. And look, there's a lot of years that you're going to be struggling to try to get there, and you can't ever take it for granted, just like you can't take winning for granted. But so I think they're excited. We addressed it in there real quickly, and they were fired up about it. But they quickly realized that you know, we got to go 1-0 this week. We got to go down to Houston and find a way to just repeat what we've been doing. And that's what's hard. Sustained success is hard, and that's what we're challenged with trying to do.